Skill should be the only deciding factor on if you get hired for a job. Not race, not gender, just your ability to complete the tasks you're given. But now, according to a new report, UK publishers and literary agents are uninterested in working with white or straight writers because they simply want BIPOC, queer, and minority individuals to work with them. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media so you can see when my content is posted, and of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and live streams I create, consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So, this is a Bounding into Comics article. It says, according to a new report, a number of UK-based publishers and literary agents have taken to publicly announcing that they, rather than any white or straight authors, they would almost exclusively prefer to work with those who come from underrepresented demographic groups. Now, while this is just a report, so of course take it with a grain of salt, it really wouldn't be all that surprising because unfortunately we have seen this happen in especially like the United States, right? When it comes to publishers and literary agents, many of them, from what we have heard, are looking almost exclusively for women and people of color and minorities because they think they have stories to tell that white or straight people have had, and they've had their time in the spotlight, which of course is absurd. If you are an amazing author, no matter what genre or no matter what your gender or your background, you should be able to get a book deal. But now we're hearing that, at least in the UK, they've taken to just straight up announcing that they don't want to work with white or straight authors anymore. It says this information was first brought to public attention by UK news outlet The Telegraph, whose investigation into the matter identified 4 publishing houses whose public-facing materials promoted this rhetoric. One such publisher was Ash Literary, the children's book specialists, perhaps best known for introducing the Marv series, who on the submissions section of their official website inform prospective writers that we are actively seeking voices that have been historically underrepresented, particularly with tropes that are often said to be overdone. For example, we are not interested in stories about white, able-bodied World War II evacuees, but some would welcome that story from a disabled LGBTQ+ or BIPOC perspective. If your book is about an identity that is not yours, we will not be a good fit. This includes books based on the experiences of family members and friends, and this is just so absurd. If you have a story to tell and you think that it's a good story, you should be able to submit it. That's just it's plain and simple. It's understandable that not every single story is going to get picked up by a literary agent. Totally. I get that. But just straight up telling people, we don't want you here, we don't want to hear your story, we don't want your opinion because of your background is just, it's disgusting. That's the best way to put it. These people are so absurd. I mean, doing this is just, it's not okay at all whatsoever. Now, this is the lunacy that, 2023 has given us, right? This is like considered normal to a lot of people. I'm sitting here and I'm really not that surprised because we've seen this happen before, and that's not the world that we should be living in. Again, if you are LGBTQ+, disabled, BIPOC, and you want to tell that perspective, that is perfectly fine. There are definitely going to be people out there who are going to purchase your work and support you and support your work, but that doesn't mean that to, prop these voices up and these perspective ups, we have to, denigrate the other ones and the other types of people that don't fit into these categories. It says another was the Good Literary Agency, a self-described social enterprise literary agency dedicated to increasing opportunities for representation for all writers underrepresented in mainstream publishing, including writers of color, disability, LGBTQ+, working class. According to their own FAQ, a stipulation of the public funding we receive states that we can only represent writers who are British citizens or UK residents who who also self-identify in one of the following ways. So this is just ESG money at its finest, okay? This is a situation that's different because these ones are straight up admitting that we only have money to go to certain people and we can't spend it any other way. Again, not that that is acceptable, but we have seen this happen, several times over the past few years in different situations, not just, with literary agents. And then, though not an official statement from the publisher of both the novelization of Marvel Comics' Original Sin and House of Cards author, Bell Lomax Morton agent Julie Gornax, I think I said that right, explicitly notes that her official company profile that she is keenly interested in hearing from authors traditionally underrepresented. So there's this new big wave, at least in the UK, for finding underrepresented voices, and this has already happened in the United States, right? I mean, we've seen this happen quite a few times, sadly and unfortunately, but it seems like the UK is the next to really start pushing this, that underrepresented voices are all that people want to hear, and that's all that they're willing to take, that's all that they're willing to accept at this point, and if you don't fit into that, basically you can just get lost. I mean, if you just take a quick peek at Google and you type in things like marginalized creators and literary agents, it pops up with plenty of web pages like this Writer's Digest from 2019, literary agents seeking underrepresented and unique voices. And there's a list of companies and literary agents in the United States. I mean, this one is New York. The Ethan Ellenberg Literary Agency. They're looking for marginalized voices and commercial and upmarket women's fiction, contemporary romance. We have the Levine Greenberg Roastin Literary Agency. Of course, it says that they are looking for stories that traverse the complexities of the immigrant experience. And of course, it has to be your own experience. Keely Boving of Word Serve Literary. So there are plenty of different pages online if you look at this, and you can see that this has been going on for years at this point. Again, this article is from 2019. But just because it's been going on for a long time doesn't mean that it's acceptable. This whole situation should not be acceptable. This is the type of shit that needs to be called out, okay? Just because you're a woman or you're BIPOC or you're queer, you're part of a minority group, you're disabled, it should not matter. If you have a story to tell, you should be able to tell it. And this is a big reason why people self-publish now. People have gone to creating their own literary houses and becoming literary agents, and just a lot of indie work has boomed over the few years, because why would you, after seeing all of this, want to go and have to work with someone else who could in just a few years say, well, you know what, while we've published some of your work before, it's just not good enough. We're looking for something different now, and because you don't fit into any of these categories, we're not going to work with you. It's ridiculous. It is absurd. There's no better words for it. And now UK publishers and literary agents are falling, and reportedly they're just completely uninterested in working with you if you are any of these different things, like white or straight or most likely a male, because let's be honest, a lot of these literary agents focused on looking for female authors and female writers. But yes, this is the newest situation. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but honestly, I'm not at all whatsoever. But that does not mean that it is acceptable in any way, shape, or form. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.